We are in a war against radical Islam. We have to understand that, and we have to use all of the tools necessary. Interrogation, we have to use all of our intelligence tools. We have to use our military, everything that we can do, along with Homeland Security, to keep our country safe.
You make a good point, and as a member of the committee, it's certainly something that we know that you've been looking into. Listen, I got to ask you this question. Since this is your first formal interview on CNN, it behooves me to ask you, and look, I know this is a very difficult thing for you, and I appreciate you being on here and doing this interview, and I know you've always been, as much as you can be, an upright guy, but you're under, it seems to me that you're under, let me ask you the question, are you under an investigation right now by the Senate Ethics Committee and or the Justice Department?
Well, you know, I'll let those folks speak for themselves. You know, Rick, I've been dealing with health care reform. My state has over a 12% unemployment rate. We have 2 wars going on, these latest terrorist attacks. There's so many other bigger issues. I've commented all I needed to comment on those kinds of things. You know, I was elected to do a job as a senator.
Hold on. I got to stop you there, because if there's a possibility here, let me show the viewers what we're talking about. This is a picture of you and Doug Hampton. This is from the New York Times website right here. And the question has to be asked, Senator, did you help him get a job because you felt bad for him, or because you had been sleeping with his wife and you wanted to get him out of the way?
Listen, Rick, I've commented all I was going to comment on that, and we told you when we were going to come on here that I'm going to be focused on health care. I'm going to be focused on the economy. My state is hurting right now as badly as any state in the country, and I'm focused on doing everything I can to help Nevada.
But here's the problem with that.
That's what I'm going to focus on, Rick, so I'm not going to answer your questions. You can ask it all the ways you want to ask it, but I'm not going to answer your questions.
But here's the problem. There is a law that says that someone who is an aide for a senator like yourself has to wait 1 year before they start lobbying. There's reason to believe, Senator, in fact, there's a lot of reason to believe here that Doug Hampton, who was your aide, was lobbying within that 1 year. If that's the case, sir, that's an illegality and something that you owe an explanation to your constituents about if you had any involvement in either that lobbying or helping him get those lobbying gigs.
Right, Rick. First of all, that's his problem. That's not my problem. But at the same time, I'm not going to answer any of the questions because I'm focused on doing my job right now. All that stuff will take care of itself over time. We've said we will cooperate with any investigations, and but at this moment, I'm just going to focus on being the best senator that I can be for my state.
By the way, you just said, though, that that was his problem and not your problem. But doesn't it become your problem if you arranged meetings for him to, A, get those jobs, and then, B, set up meetings after he had the lobbying jobs with people that he would be lobbying? Wouldn't that kind of link you somehow to this?
Rick, I know you want to get into this, and I've told you before that I've spoken all I need to speak on this, and everything will take care of itself over time. No question, I've made statements in the past that I will fully cooperate, have in the past, will continue to cooperate with any investigations that go on, but I really need to just focus on doing my job. Rick, there are some serious problems. Some people are really hurting out there with unemployment, with health care. This health care debate is 1/6 of the economy. I'm going to be going out around my state doing town hall meetings, trying to raise awareness of what is in this bill. I believe this bill is terrible for the country, and that's what people in Nevada keep telling me that they want me to do, is they want me to focus on doing my job. And I think that's what I'm going to do.
Well, and I think that's important, sir. But I also think that as citizens, we do get a level of frustration when we see any kind of malfeasance from the folks like you who represent us. And it just seems that it's fair for a journalist to ask a standing senator of the U.S. Senate how he would explain to his constituents, and here is your opportunity to explain to them how it is that you were in a situation where someone who worked for you a year before they had been out of that office or out of that job started lobbying. And
Rick, I've answered those questions. All you have to do is go back to my statements. I've answered all of those questions, and all of no question in my mind, when all of the investigations, go forward and everything, that'll be proven to that exactly what I said.
Did you
that I did nothing illegal. I did nothing unethical.
Did you arrange a meeting?
That will absolutely be proven.
Well, you're saying you see, but now you're bringing me back in. You're saying you've answered all these questions. I'm not sure that's true, Senator.
Go back through the records and see my statements.
Did you set up a meeting, arrange a meeting for Hampton to meet with the new transportation secretary?
Rick, go back to my statements. You'll see exactly what I've said on the record, and go back through them. If you'll do your research, you'll see that my answers have been very clear, and we will cooperate with any investigations that come forward. And in the end, there's no question in my mind. But in the end, everything will be answered in its fullest. We will cooperate, and I think, based on the facts, that the Ethics Committee would clear me, and I'll be able to go on being a senator. The
New York Times reports that you reached out to the following people about hiring Doug Hampton: Maurice Gallagher Jr., CEO of Allegiant Air; Bob Andrews, a financial industry executive; Sig Rogich, a prominent Republican; and consultant Paul Steelman, who is a casino architect and developer. And Steelman says, and just answer this if you could, Steelman says, he tells the New York Times that you, quote, you mentioned Doug Hampton and asked if the developer might have business for him as a lobbyist or a consultant. Did you meet with Steele and ask him to get Doug Hampton a job as a consultant?
Rick, I'll applaud you for your efforts, but I told you before, I have answered the questions that I'm going to answer, and I go back to my statements that I have done nothing ethically or illegal in this matter, and in the end, it's an absolutely, we feel that we will be completely exonerated. It's my job to ask the question, sir, and I thank you for appreciating my persistence. And Senator, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for coming on, sir. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year. All right, likewise.